Hello guys, it's been a long time since I've actually made a video. So today's video is a past paper walkthrough for information and communication technology. This is for paper 1 theory. I know many of you guys have this paper coming on for exams. The code for this paper is 0417/12. This is a May-June 2019 paper. This is for the exam board Cambridge, and the time duration for this paper is 2 hours. So this is just going to be mainly a walkthrough video what the answers are going to be. So it just provides you good revision for exams coming up. Okay, so write your candidate number, center number, and candidate name. Read the instructions. So let's start the video. All right, so write your name, center number, and candidate number. Remember to write using black font. That's very important that you use a black pen for the exams. Then answer all questions. Total mark for this paper. Usually they would write it somewhere here. So I'm assuming this is total 80 marks. 100 marks. 100 marks for a 2019 paper. Alright, so the first question. Computer consists of hardware and software. State what is meant by hardware. So when they're asking you to state what's meant by hardware, think of anything that's physical. Like, let's say computer, your mouse, iPad, anything like that. That is considered to be hardware. So we're just going to write this. This is one of the marking schemes answers that we're going to be writing so that you guys know what to write for exams, official exams. Okay, so this is going to be the answer to this is going to be, this is the physical components of a computer system. Physical components of a computer system. Okay, so this is the definition of what is it meant to be, what is it meant by hardware. Okay, let's move on to the next question. State what is meant by software. So now software is everything like the application you're using. You can think of programs such as social media apps. That's all part of software. The OS operating systems, they're all part of the software side. So let's write some of the definitions of what is meant by software. You can mention that it is the programs for controlling data, for controlling the operation of a computer. That's what you're going to write for 1 mark. Okay, it's a programs for controlling the operation of a computer. You can also say that it is the programs that are used for processing of data. Okay, that's what you're going to write for 1 mark. Let's move on to the next question. There are 2 types of software. Name one of the types of software used by a computer. Now, a computer uses 2 types of software, using system software and application software. So, name one of the 2 types. So, we're just going to be writing system software. Okay? Next question. Name the piece of hardware found in a tablet computer that is both an input and output device. So, if you look and observe a tablet computer, what is something that shows you the output as well as the input? It can't be the microphone, because a microphone is an input device in the tablet. It can be the screen. Can it be the screen? It can be the screen. Actually, if you look at it, you're both touching the screen. You're inputting data into the device. Let's say when you use the keyboard. And how does the touch screen, let's say, function as an output device? It outputs the data of what you have typed. So you're inputting data at the same time you can see the data shown as output. So we can say that a touch screen in a tablet computer is both an input or output device at the same time. Let's move on to the next question. Now, next question is there are many types of data storage. Tick whether the following statements are examples of read-only memory, ROM, random access memory, or hard disk drive, HDD. So now, when you look at this carefully, if you remember some facts about what ROM is read-only memory. So meaning that the data stored in it is not temporary, so meaning it's not lost when the data power is cut off. But in RAM, if the data power is cut off, if the data power is cut off, all the data is lost in RAM, okay? Hard disk drive is just an additional storage method. So we can see that this is for 4 marks. So let's tick the options. It loses its data when the computer is switched off. That is going to be RAM, okay? It is classed as backing storage. That would be HDD. It stores the startup instructions of the computer. That would be the ROM. It temporarily stores the current work of the current user. That will be RAM, okay, because it's a temporary form of storage. Let's move on to the next question. Click 2 items which are used for direct data entry. Direct data entry would be like, it's not a printer. Printer's outputting stuff, so it's going to be RFID. That stands for radio frequency identification, and MICR. Okay, these two are going to be your answers. Okay, it can't be my keyboard, it can't be microphone, it's not mouse or printer. Okay, these are not used for direct data entry. Okay, next question. Alright, so the next question is asking us, an alpine slalom skiing involves a number of skiers racing down a mountain, negotiating obstacles. The time it takes each skier to complete the course is measured. The fastest skier is awarded first place. This involves the use of a number of different sensors to monitor variables. Using words from the list below, complete the following statements. The sensor, okay, so they've given you a list of words, and actually this is a good thing because you can use this to answer questions. Okay, this sensor is used to measure how cold it is on the course. So that'll be obvious. It's a temperature sensor. Temperature is used to measure heat and cold, so you can use a temperature sensor. Okay, this sensor is used to stop the clock when a skier crosses the finish line. So if you read this carefully, that would be I'm assuming it would be a light sensor, hopefully. That's correct. Do correct it in the comments. Next question is, this sensor is used to measure the altitude, height above sea level at the top of the course. That would be pressure. That's a pressure sensor. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So, next question is, skiers take part in 2 separate races. The fastest 30 skiers qualify for the second race. 30 skiers have already completed the course. In order for the next skier to qualify, he has to beat the race time of the skier currently in 30th place. Part of the spreadsheet showing the current standings is shown. So what you're going to do is you're going to write a formula. Okay, you can see that the Excel sheet, you're going to write a formula that can be entered in cell E36 to display Y if the skier has qualified by beating the time of the skier currently in 30th place. If the skier has not qualified, then N is displayed. So this is more of an Excel type. I think now it's changed with the newer codes and all that stuff. So hopefully it's changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an if function here. So it's going to be if D36, right, is less than D32. Then what you're going to do is you're going to output Y, comma, and then otherwise if that doesn't happen, you're going to output N, okay? Put that in brackets. This is going to be an answer for 3 marks. This whole thing is 3 marks. The 1 mark is for the if function. The other 1 mark is mentioning the condition that E36 has to beat. Has qualified by beating the time in 30th place. If it's less than, so D36, in order for D36 to beat, it has to have a lower time. So D36 less than D32, that is going to be for 1 mark. If that's happened, then it's a Y. We output Y. Otherwise, if it doesn't happen, we just output N. Okay. So that's 1 mark for those conditions. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question is again a question related to Excel. Just before the second run column is deleted as it is no longer required. As the skiers in the second run complete the course, their times are entered into the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet has been changed to display the second run times as shown. So you can see that there's data in this Excel file. The combined times for the first and second runs need to be added to the spreadsheet in a new column between columns E and F. Okay. Describe the steps that you would take to add this new column with the heading combined time. Now, what are the steps we're going to do to answer this question is that the first thing you're going to be doing, I'm just going to zoom out so you can see the question as well. Maybe zoom in like this. Okay, you're gonna what are you gonna do? Three marks, right? I'm assuming, yeah, this is for 3 marks. You're gonna write 3 points here. What you're gonna do is you're gonna select the column F, or any cell in column F. And then what you're gonna do? You're gonna click insert new column. You're gonna click insert new column. Okay. Or you could just say right click and then select insert new column. Then what are you going to do? You're going to select, you're describing the steps. You're going to select cell F2 or F1. Then you're going to type in combined time. You're going to type in combined time. And then you're going to select text wrap. These are some of the steps that you can write for this answer, text wrap. Okay, and then you're going to select text wrap. These are some of the answers that you can write for 3 marks. All right, let's move on to the next question. Write a formula that can be entered into the new cell F3 that adds the time taken to complete the first run to the time taken to complete the second run. So all you're doing in F3 over here, all we're doing is we're just adding the cells D3 and E3 to give us the value in F3. So all you're going to do is just write D3 plus E3. Okay, D3 plus E3. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, when the overall race is completed, the data is sorted into order based on the combined times. The first player skier will be at the top of the list. Part of the final spreadsheet before the data is sorted is shown. The 30th place skier is on row 32. Describe the steps you would take to sort the data to show each skier in their correct position without using their functions. Alright, so describe the steps that we would take. What you're going to do is, the answer is for how many marks? 4 marks. You're going to write 4 points for this question. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see the question. What we're going to do first is we're going to highlight B3 to F32. Then we're going to click on sort. Then what we're going to do, we're going to click sort by column F, and then we're going to click on ascending order. This is some of the answers you can write for 4 marks. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is stating that the skiers throughout the season earn world championship points. At the end of the race, the points are calculated for each skier. The winning of the race gains 100 points. The other skiers have their points calculated by subtracting the combined time of the winner from the combined time of the skier, then subtracting this value from the winner's points. Write a formula to be placed in cell G4 to show the skier's points for the race. The formula will be replicated to G32. So now what your answer is going to be G and a dollar sign. G dollar sign and 3 minus F4, cell in F4, minus F dollar sign 3. Okay, this is going to be answer for about 3 marks. Okay, so let's answer the next question. Andinda is a marathon runner. She uses a smartwatch, which is a smaller version of her smartphone. She trains by running in areas near her home. She uses a smartwatch with an inbuilt GPS system to navigate the route she's running. Describe the disadvantages of using a smartwatch in this way. So this is for 4 marks, so we can mention 4 points. So what we can write is that the software in the smartwatch, right? Software in the smartwatch needs to be kept up to date. The next point we can mention is that the loss of satellite signal, right? Loss of satellite signal can be an issue. The other point that we can mention is that let's say problems with battery, or having an empty battery, that could be an issue. Empty battery. The next point that we can mention is that sunlight can make the device unreadable, meaning it can cause, or you can say that programming the smartwatch can slow the runner down, or you can mention the problems with weather. That could be another factor. Electric storms, problems with weather. You can mention that. These are some of the points that you can mention. You can also mention some of these points related to those disadvantages in using the smartwatch in that way. Let's move on to the next question. Name 2 other uses of GPS systems. So, the obvious one is the use in cars, to calculate routes, or it's used in ships. You can mention that, used in ships to locate current position. You can also mention, it's used in agriculture for tractor navigation, or you can just mention any other examples of tracking systems. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Next question is that Andinda also carries a smartphone strapped to her arm, but finds this is difficult to use when running. A smartphone can be used for communication, either for making phone calls or text messaging. Andina stops part way through a run for a rest and wishes to communicate with a friend using the smartphone. Describe why text messaging is a better way for Andina to communicate with a friend rather than making a phone call. So, you can say that she may be tired due to the running factor, so she may be tired, so therefore she would be using text messaging. So this is more of an analysis based question. So she would be using text messaging than trying to talk. The other point is that a text message is much more quicker than sending an audio message. So you can mention that as well. A text message is sent quicker than sending an audio message. Okay. The other point is that the text message is sent even though the receiver's phone is turned off, or even if it's out of range. We can mention that. Then we can mention the third last point we can mention is that the text message, I was going to show you guys the question. The text message is more likely to connect as the data footprint is smaller than a phone call. Okay, guys can mention that. You can also mention the other point which I said earlier is that the text message is sent even though the receiver's phone is turned off or not, even if it's out of range, it would still work.